and welcome to another edition of AppSec Decoded. I'm Taylor Armerding, security advocate with the Synopsys Software Integrity Group. And today we're going to be decoding a recent report on AppSec from the Synopsys Cybersecurity Research Center, a team that's important enough to get its own acronym, CYRC, C-Y-R-C. That report, the 2022 Software Vulnerability Snapshot, is based on nearly 4,400 intrusive tests on more than 2,700 targeted software components or systems conducted by Synopsys Application Security Testing Services. And joining me to help us understand the findings of that report and how they can help you improve your security is Chai Bhatt, Security Solutions Manager with the Synopsys Software Integrity Group. Chai, thank you so much for being with us and for your impeccable wardrobe. So let's start at the high level. What's the overall focus of this report?
Thank you, Taylor. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, the overall focus of this report is to test fully functional, fully built applications. So we basically do two forms of testing that the data in this report consists of. Okay. It's pen testing and it's DAST, dynamic testing. Yeah. So the pen testing is actually done on applications right before they're released in production. So it's almost like a pre-production health check.
But while the code is running, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So while the application is running. So what the pen test does is you have an ethical hacker who actually puts on his hacker hat and thinks like a hacker would, yeah, and then tests your application. So, and he can look at individual binary components of the application, or he can look at the application as a whole, the intra and inter dependency of the application, how it's running, and try to exploit it as a hacker would. So, and they would use static analysis, dynamic analysis, automated techniques, everything to exploit the application. A DAST, on the other hand, runs, does testing, automated scanning while the application is running, yes, during runtime, during its production runs. So it's testing the application to make sure that it's securing during runtime.
Thanks. That's a good segue into my next question. Listening to that and reading about it sort of makes me think, we're all supposed to be concerned about AppSec. But at the same time, this whole idea of doing it the way a hacker would reminds me of the ancient Chinese general Sun Tzu, who said, you can't win a battle if you don't know your enemy, right? And in this case, our enemy is malicious hackers. And so how does this report do that? Help us know our enemy.
Yeah, good question, Taylor. So, applications and data breaches are not cheap to fix, So it's, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Right. So what, again, an ethical hacker would do is they would actually test out your application, try to compromise it, and basically see if they can get to the critical data that's housed in the application, its environmental resources, and the application itself. And they would test things like APIs. They would test things like your hosted cloud environment, in addition to the application. That typically automated testing does not do. And they would see how they can compromise the application. And based on their expertise, after they do their testing, they can actually provide educated remediation guidance to you. They can tell you, hey, we found these vulnerabilities in your application. These are critical. These are high risk to your unique business case, and you should prioritize these. And they can actually also recommend security controls that you can put in place to prevent hacks from the bad guys. So it's almost like a pre-production check before your application is running. And that way your application is fully secure in production.
Okay, thanks. All right, tell us in brief, we're going to talk later in more detail, but tell us in brief, what would you say are the main takeaways from this report?
Yeah, that's a good point. So the main takeaways from this report are that you really need to test with a full spectrum of application security tools. Mm-hmm. The second one is that even low-risk vulnerabilities are dangerous and can be exploited. The third one is that third-party libraries, you have to take care of make sure that when you're using third-party libraries, the components that you're using are secure.
Yeah.
And the fourth thing is it's absolutely essential to have an SBOM for your application. So a software bill of materials to make sure that you're minimizing supply chain risk.
Absolutely. I have taken to calling SBOM the acronym of the year. It's very important. We're going to leave it there for now. Thanks, Chai, for being with us. We're going to have another conversation, though, about this where we're going to get into a bit more detail on each one of the major takeaways. You've been watching AppSec Decoded. I'm Taylor Armerding, once again, for the Synopsys Software Integrity Group, where we help organizations build trust into their software.